Hey guys, it's Aaron actually on time for once Turner here. Marvel released their zombie show a week before its original release date of October 3rd. Why they did this, I have no idea. You'd think a zombie show would fit better in October. Like Eyes of Wakanda, they also released all 4 episodes at once. Again, I feel like it would have fit a lot better if they released 1 episode a week throughout the month of October, so that's just a weird decision. But Marvel Zombies is a direct sequel to the Zombies episode in What If. I was a little worried for this show because I was not a fan of the What If Zombies episode, full of cliches, and most of the characters don't even take the zombie apocalypse seriously. However, despite what I thought, the episode was a fan favorite, which led Marvel to make a spin-off. Now, while it's true I didn't like What If Zombies, I do think the concept behind it has the potential to be really interesting. Well, folks, I'm very happy to report that I thought Marvel Zombies, for the most part, was really good. To start off with my positives, I think the shots in this show are amazing. Now, because this is a direct sequel to What If Zombies, it of course uses the same character models as that show, and I've said in the past that I'm not a fan of them. And while that is still true, the shots pretty much make up for that. I was really impressed with how they used the shots to give you a look of how things have become now with the apocalypse. The shots do a great job establishing the apocalyptic world. Also, it's got really good action scenes. The fights are very flashy and intense. Something that I think makes this show appealing is that it's not your typical zombie show. Because it's set in the world of Marvel, it gives the show a superhero twist. The zombies in this show aren't the typical dumb, slow zombies that you expect. A lot of the characters such as Steve Rogers, Carol Danvers, Icarus, and Clint Barton still use their abilities as a zombie. As a result, the zombies are actually smart and are able to adapt in this scenario. Wanda Maximoff is the antagonist of this show as she uses her mind control powers on the zombies to attack survivors, making her the queen of the dead. I think it's refreshing for a zombie plotline. Also, I have to say that I really enjoyed seeing Blade in this show. They also decided to make Blade Moon Knight in this show, which is very cool, and he is entirely badass in this show. It's good to use Blade in this show because, let's face it folks, that Blade movie is never coming out. In regard to episode 3, I really enjoyed the opening scene where Spider-Man is narrating what happened to him after the events of the What If episode, and I love what they did with Black Panther. Chadwick Boseman voiced T'Challa in the What If episode, but because of his unfortunate death, he's not able to provide his voice in Marvel Zombies, and as a result, T'Challa has no lines in this show, and they have him sacrifice himself in order to stop Thanos from using the stones to destroy the universe. Not only is that a really clever way of concluding T'Challa's character in this universe, but I think that's very respectful to Chadwick Boseman's legacy. It's also kind of funny how zombie Thanos uses the Infinity Stones. Thor arrives in Wakanda with Rocket and Groot just like in Infinity War, but Thanos immediately uses the Power Stone and knocks Thor out while killing Rocket and Groot instantly. That awkward moment when the undead version of you is smarter with the Infinity Stones than the alive version of you. Another aspect of episode 3 I appreciated was Thor. See, because Thor was unable to stop Thanos in this universe, he goes into a deep depression, similar to what his character was like in Avengers Endgame. However, unlike Endgame, Thor's depressive state is actually taken seriously. He even redeems himself, helping distract Wanda so that the survivors can escape. I loved that. Look, no matter if you like Thor in Endgame or not, at the very least, it's nice that Marvel was able to appease the people who complained about Thor being treated like a joke. Now to address the elephant in the room. This is the first animated MCU project to be rated TV-MA. This is also something that makes the show way more fun to watch. They take advantage of the TV-MA rating in order to show gruesome zombie kills. Zombies get sliced in half, blown up, and Valkyrie has one of the best kills in the finale when she cuts her way out of a giant zombie's head. The finale in general is very bloody and had so many standout moments. Of course, I have to mention Spider-Man using his webs to tear a bunch of zombies' heads off. Never thought I'd see the day Mickey Mouse allowed Spider-Man to do that shit. I have to say that I love that this show does not have a happy ending. The show ends up taking Kamala Khan and basically makes her the main character. She gets the most amount of screen time and is the only character that appears in every episode. I really like what they did with her character. It's very effective to have her be the only character to appear in all the episodes, as we pretty much see everything from her perspective for the most part. She has to slowly watch each of her friends get killed one by one. It's a tragic story, and this is made even more powerful with the twist ending. She ends up trusting Wanda when she promises to give her a safe haven, basically. She wakes up and discovers her family and friends are all okay, but then at the very end, Riri is able to contact her from the other side as she slowly realizes that this reality she's in is all fake. Kamala may be safe, but the few remaining survivors are still in deep trouble. I loved the twist, and I appreciate the fact that they didn't pull some Mickey Mouse happy ending bullshit on us. Marvel Zombies having a happy ending would probably be the single dumbest thing they could do with the show. Now, as a way to transition into my negatives, I want to address the comedy in the show. From what I've seen, quite a few people seem to be disappointed with Marvel Zombies, with one of the reasons being the use of jokes. Now, if you're familiar with me, you're probably expecting me to criticize the use of jokes in this show, but in the case of Marvel Zombies, I actually don't have a problem with it. Alright, before you call me a hypocrite, hear me out. 1, the show doesn't use jokes all the time. That's one of the reasons why I liked this show way more than the What If episode. It actually takes itself seriously and has stakes. No one is safe, not even Marvel's most popular character. As the last we see of him, it looks like he gets his head bitten off by a giant zombie. And 2, in a scenario like this, I actually think it makes sense for the characters to make jokes. Think about it from a realistic standpoint. This show is set 5 years after the initial outbreak, and the characters have adapted to this new world they live in. Doesn't it make sense that eventually they'd come to be a little more loose and use jokes as a way of coping with the situation? Now, I still think it's dumb how the characters in the What If episode treated the whole thing as a joke, because that's when the outbreak first started. A good example of this is the scene in the first episode where Kamala, Kate, and Riri are driving and are making each other laugh. It's not like they're making jokes about the apocalypse, but just simply joking around with each other. That's why I don't have a problem with the use of jokes in this show, because it's used to service the story. Now, with that being said, just because I'm okay with them using jokes doesn't mean I think they're funny. In fact, I think it's pretty fucking groan-worthy. It's mainly the characters who are making the usual quips, such as Katie, who has 3 or 4 lines saying how cool something is, like when someone makes an epic pose landing on the ground. Like, come on guys, this is some shit Deadpool would make fun of.
Woo! Superhero landing! Yeah, that's really hard on your knees.
So yeah, I do agree with those who think the dialogue is bad at times, because it definitely is. Like, even when Marvel takes the story seriously, they still have to make characters quip.
Oh, for 5 minutes. Could you not be yourself? For 5 minutes!
Now lastly, another complaint I want to address is the lack of Spider-Man. I definitely agree with this. The thing is, Marvel Zombies was originally supposed to be an animated movie, but they wouldn't have been able to include Spider-Man. So the only reason why this is a show is because of Spider-Man. So if this is the case, you'd think they'd want to take advantage of that and give Spider-Man a prominent role, but he barely got any screen time. So I ask, was it worth making this a show, Marvel, just so you could use your most popular character for all of 2 minutes? If I was in charge of this project and we made the decision to change from a movie to a show in order to include Spider-Man, I would probably make him the main character instead of Kamala Khan. And that's not because I like Spider-Man, it's because it just makes sense to use as much time as you have for your most popular character that you normally aren't able to use. Now don't get me wrong, I still love what they did with Kamala in this show, but couldn't you have at least given Spider-Man a bigger role in the story? Now, in the end, it's better than nothing because we did get to see Spider-Man kill zombies in the finale, but it is disappointing that they didn't use his character in terms of the story. But despite some problems, I was very impressed with this show. I appreciate the serious tone, the use of the TVMA rating showing all sorts of zombie deaths, and some really badass moments. It's definitely one of the better MCU shows. I'm gonna give Marvel Zombies an 8.5 out of 10. Some people are talking about the possibility of a second season, but given the ending, I don't necessarily think we need a second season. Plus, most of the characters ended up dying, so what else could they do at this point? I hope you guys enjoyed Marvel Zombies as much as I did, and hey, if any of you are interested, starting in November, let's just say that, unlike the MCU, my channel isn't going to have a lack of Spider-Man. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good night.